Marley from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Sunday, September 25th. So welcome to the new moon in Libra. Of course, a new moon. There's no illumination in the sky. We're sitting in the darkness. We have to sit with ourselves, sit in the funk, sit with the thoughts, sit with the emotions, sit with the memories in order to do a deep reflection, to examine what it is we've outgrown, what it is we no longer want to experience, and of course, from that, create the framework on the new intentions that we have to focus on as the new moon energy peaks. That's how we manifest. If you have not downloaded your moon guide, I'm going to recommend you do the work, do the shadow work, do it for your future self. And if you haven't listened to the astro forecast for this new moon in Libra, I'm going to recommend you do that too, where I can do a deep dive into this particular moon event and give you the highs and the lows, the medium ground as well, for us to strike a balance. Libran energy, of course, all about balance, but we find that balance in the realm of extremes. So we have to expect that today is going to be a little bit wonky. We have to expect that we are going to have emotions run high, that there's going to be a lot of pressure in our headspace. We have some aspects taking place under the peak of the new moon energy that's definitely going to magnify things. Definitely thank Jupiter for that. You can find the positive and negative aspects of this moon event in the moon guide, where we break it down and see how this is going to affect your life. So we have the new moon taking place at 2 degrees, so it's relatively a brand new cycle, a fresh, clean slate. And of course, we are going to be locking into that Libran energy at 12:44 p.m. after the moon goes void, of course, at 8:50 a.m., both Eastern Standard Time. Now, if this was not a moon event and we were just having the moon move out of Virgo energy and into Libran energy, we would definitely feel a lighter vibe. That moon in Virgo, being in Earth energy, had us very stuck in the present moment, had us analyzing everything. We felt the weight of the world. We felt the pressure to figure everything out. And switching into Libran energy and air energy, the energy definitely gets a lot lighter. We move into the headspace. We seek balance. We try to make peace with our circumstances. We seek closure and harmony within ourselves, between our heart and our head, and in our relationships. But this is a new moon event, which means that we are going to feel the pressure that much more. We're going to feel a little bit manic, if you will. There's a lot of electricity coming into the cosmos because of this. And we're going to feel that anxiousness, that anticipation, that anxiety, because the vibrations are just a buzzing. So there are 11 different aspects taking place here today, and 10 of them involve the moon. While the moon is still very much in the Virgo energy, we are going to see a direct opposition with Neptune, who is retrograde in Pisces energy. Now, Virgo energy and Pisces energy sit across from one another in the zodiac wheel. They are both healers. They are on the healing axis of the zodiac wheel. However, Virgo energy is an earth energy ruled over by Mercury, the mental plane, which focuses in on healing the physical body, the mental plane, the physical circumstances of the physical realm. While Neptune, retrograde in Pisces, the Pisces energy focuses in on healing karma, soul, spirit, emotions. And because we just entered into Libra season, and because we're in this equinox energy, we are trying very hard to find the peace, the balance in our circumstances. We've had a whole chapter of karma close out so that a new chapter can begin. But the moon sitting across from Neptune right now not only creates a little bit of confusion, not only kind of makes it hard for us to tap into our intuition, it really does kind of amplify the urgency to figure everything out, to have a plan, to have a strategy, to make sense of everything, which of course is not going to happen, mostly because A, we're in a new moon, B, we have 6 planets in a retrograde, and C, we have to kind of sit in the frustration, the tension, the conflict in order to figure out what areas of our lives lives need the attention the most, need the solution the fastest. The moon goes ahead and sits next to, meets up with Venus, who is also in Virgo energy. Venus will be preparing to take her throne, her place of power in Libra later on this week. But right now, she is nearing the final degrees of this Virgo energy. Because the moon is our heart space, our emotions, our intuition, and because Venus is very focused on our heart space, because of our relationships, the love that we have, the pleasure, the joy, the overall, I'm going to say, contentment that we are experiencing in life. This is going to be an aha moment, a revelation on where it is that we have to do better. First, taking care of ourselves. Second, taking care of those we love. Third, taking care of all the other things on our to-do list. That Virgo energy that we're sitting in is the problem solver of the zodiac, but we do have to do a deep dive into our heart space, into our head space, in order to really analyze what is wrong, where the problems are, where it is that we feel broken, where things aren't flowing as nice as we would like, where we aren't experiencing happiness and joy and pleasure. Because, of course, sitting in the funk and recognizing where the darkness is, that means that we have to shine a bright light on those areas in order to illuminate where it is that there are problems in order for us to fix them. Now, this is likely going to be amplified under the new moon energy. We talk about Venus's part in this new moon event in the moon guide and in the astro forecast. We have Mercury and Venus sitting very close to one another in the very last degrees of this Virgo energy, which means that there's likely going to be a lot of aha moments, a lot of epiphanies when it comes to examining where it is that we have to kind of dig deep, create new routines, new structures for ourselves in order to balance out the mind, the body, the soul equation. Emotionally speaking, we're trying to stay grounded. We're trying to stay logical and practical, sorting through the emotions coming up for us. But because we are in this intense new moon energy, we are likely going to be sitting in the shadow self, which means that we are picking things apart. We are kind of judgmental, highly critical, especially of ourselves. But then we flip the microscope over to do a deep dive and examine the details of our personal relationships. We have the moon bumping into Saturn in a very positive way. Mr. Saturn, Mr. Karma himself, ruling over structures, foundations, roles, responsibilities, is showing us where new boundaries need to be created and implemented. First of all, to honor ourselves, to make sure we're doing right by ourselves instead of sacrificing our own wants, needs, and desires to make everyone else happy. Now, this particular energy, I'm going to say, although it is a positive energy, does come with a little bit of seriousness, a little bit of weight, a little bit of heaviness, because we have a lot to do. We have a lot to figure out. We have a lot on our list. We have a lot of changes that need to be made. We have a lot of adjustments that we have to open our heart and our mind to. And this particular interaction is just a little bit of a somber reality check on the roles and responsibilities that we currently have, the commitments and obligations that we've made, and to get very real with whether or not these particular tasks and chores are actually helping us or whether they are hurting us. Again, we've outgrown so many different aspects of our lives that sometimes we continue to do the same old, not realizing that our job, our tasks, our chores have been fulfilled. This particular energy is going to open up our eyes to see where it is that we have to start building a new bridge, a new foundation, a new structure in our lives to get us away from what it is that we've been doing, that we've identified is no longer working for us, so that we can start taking care of ourselves first and foremost. This doesn't mean that we're abandoning the people that we love. It means that we've recognized that giving our time, our energy, our love, our attention when we do not have a full cup is not doing anybody any freaking favors. It is time to get back to serving ourselves first and foremost, perfecting our wholeness before we start giving our power and energy away. We have the moon trining with Pluto. This is a beautiful energy. This is going to kind of reveal hidden layers of our thoughts, of our emotions, especially when we're reflecting back on our pain, on our trauma, on our suffering, on past experiences that we gave our power away. Now, this is supposed to be an empowering type of energy. There's a lot going on in the mental plane. Mercury, of course, rules over this Virgo energy. Pluto does a deep dive in our psyche in order to show us, reframe, if you will, a different perspective, a different understanding of the past experiences that we had to go through in order to prepare us for the here and now. Again, this is all on a karmic level. This is understanding that we are here to learn life lessons, spiritual lessons, and that the name of the game is pain and trauma and suffering, because that is the only way that humans learn. So there is going to be a major shift in our heart space because we're having some aha moments. We're having light bulbs just kind of explode and flash in our mental plane. And because of this, we're seeing where it is that we need to rewire, reframe our emotions, our understanding, our perspective of the past in order to make peace, because we're in Libra season, to make peace with some of the circumstances, some of the experiences that we've been really struggling to come to terms with. Venus is going to interact with Mr. Karma, Saturn himself, in a very, very positive way. This screams of aha moments on where it is that we have to be a little bit more accountable and responsible for our own health and well-being. Stop looking outside of yourself for health and wellness and validation. Stop looking outside of yourself to the bigger, I'm going to say, systems like doctors and pharmacare and government to do what is best for you. This is a huge realization on where it is that we have to take matters into our own hands if we want to be as happy and healthy and well and whole as we all desire to be. This is also going to be a huge revelation in examining the dysfunction in our relationship, maybe even starting with the relationship with ourselves, understanding that the way that we feel about ourselves is mirrored in the personal relationships that we have with our family, with our friends. This is also going to highlight the dysfunction in our money matters, because we're coming up with solutions. Again, Venus being in Virgo, we are coming up with solutions that are going to fix some of the issues that we've been having. Now, Mr. Saturn over here, Mr. Karma himself, is illuminating for us the roles and responsibilities that we have in life and where it is that maybe we have to cut those cords off in order to restore the power that we have within ourselves to make ourselves feel as good as possible first and foremost before we go ahead and start giving all of our power, our energy, our attention away to other people. This is going to be a huge, I'm going to say, revelation, but it's also coming with a huge reality check because we have to boss up and be a little bit more responsible and accountable for our own happiness, our own health, our own wellness. We have to stop looking to other people to fill those voids that we need to be filling up and healing ourselves. 8:50 a.m., the moon is going to come up to meet up with, bump into Mercury, who just crept back into Virgo energy, which is its place of power. If you have not listened to that astro forecast that I put out about Mercury, going retrograde in Libran energy, retracing its steps through Libran energy, having a little interaction and a bump in with the sun just before it took its place of power back in this Virgo energy. It's very important that you understand the cycle, the pattern, and what this is doing for us. The moon, again, at the final degrees of Virgo energy, preparing to move into Libran energy, sits next to Mercury. This is our heart and our head on the same page, realizing where it is that we have a duty, a responsibility, accountability within ourselves in order to heal ourselves before we go ahead and start healing other people. Not only is there this realization, but we get tunnel vision. We get very clear, very focused on what needs to be done. We are seeing information, details, highlights, perspectives, understandings emerge that aren't new. We just didn't see them before. This is going to have a huge impact on our emotions. This is going to have a huge impact on our headspace. There is a little bit of, why didn't I see that the first time? Coming at us, but that's okay. We're in a reflective mode. We still have this retrograde pushing us to revise, to retrace our steps, to recalibrate, to realign. And right now, there is a realignment between our heart, between our head. So this is where the moon goes void of course. And while void of course, the moon is going to interact with the true node in a very awkward way. When the moon is void, we're confused, we're emotional, we're unstable. Not to mention, we are just hours away from having our new moon peak energy. So there's another extra layer of cray-cray. The moon interacting with the true node in this way is kind of getting down on ourselves. We feel the pressure to sort things out. We feel the pressure of having the moon at that 29th crisis degree to wrap up the lessons in this Virgo energy. We have a lot of urgency coming at us to try and figure out our lives. And it doesn't happen overnight. It sure as hell isn't happening here on a new moon. But what this is meant to do is to apply some tension, some conflict, some confusion, because again, we're meant to sit in the darkness. We're meant to sit in the funk. That's what a new moon is all about. We're supposed to be reflective. We're supposed to be confused on what it is that we want to do and moving forward so that we can feel the pressure, the tension in the here and now to figure things out. This is how we figure out what is important. This is how we figure out what needs our attention the most. The moon will be locking into this Libran energy at 12:44 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then at 5:55, technically 5:54, but we peak at 5:55 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have the moon in Libra coming up to, bumping into, sitting next to the sun in Libra at 2 degrees. This is what gives us our new moon. This is where we are at our peak energy. This is where the moon event is at its most direct energy, most potent energy, most intense energy. And anytime that the moon and the sun are interacting, there's an overlap of old versus new, past versus future. And what we're left with is this beautiful window of opportunity in the here and now, in this present moment, to see what it is we have to move away from in order to actually move closer to these new elements that we are setting our intentions for. What is it all about? Peace, harmony, balance, relationships, fairness, justice. All very Libran themes. Again, please download the Moon Guide. Again, please listen to the Astro Forecast. This is going to feel a little bit intense. Hours later, we have the moon in Libran energy making a very awkward aspect with Uranus, the Great Awakener, who is retrograde in Taurus energy. This is going to add to the confusion. This is going to highlight what needs to change in our routines, in our relationships, in our money matters. This doesn't bring a whole lot of clarity. This is an awkward interaction, which means that we're not having aha moments. We're sitting in the confusion. We're not gaining clarity. We're sitting in the chaos. We need to realize that a breakdown comes before a breakthrough, that the chaos comes before the chaos and confusion come before the clarity. And right now, the moon in Libra is striving for balance. But again, as I keep mentioning, we find that balance through living in extremes. And right now, we feel very polarized in our heart, in our head, in our lives, with the choices, with the decisions that we don't know how to make. make. Why? Because indecisiveness is the Libran key word. We're going to have a lot to debate upon, a lot to really sort through and process. Choices, decisions do not come very easy, but as we explore the very extreme thoughts and emotions and memories and circumstances of the here and now, we whittle it down. We find a new grounding point. We find a balance point. We find a center. And with that comes a whole lot of clarity. It's just not happening right now. The moon goes ahead and opposes Jupiter, who is retrograde in Aries. Jupiter is a key factor in this moon event. You can check that out in the moon guide. And what I will say is that Jupiter magnifies everything. Jupiter exaggerates everything. Jupiter makes everything a bigger deal than it needs to be. And right now, we're feeling insecure. We're feeling indecisive. We're feeling unstable. We're feeling extreme. And Jupiter is going to turn the volume all the way up on all of that. We are going to feel a little bit manic, a little bit extra. Whatever it is that's going on in your headspace will be amplified very, very loud. Whatever's going on in your heart space will feel like your heart is about to beat out of your chest. This opposition, although very uncomfortable, is 100% needed in order for us to see the bigger topics, the bigger themes. What needs our attention? What do we need to fix? Where do we need to find balance? What do we need to make peace with? Where are we lacking harmony in our lives? Again, all of these not so nice thoughts and feelings are intended for us to use as a framework to figure out what it is that we need to do from here. The last aspect that we have here today is between the moon and Saturn, and it is not a nice one. We are feeling the weight of the world, the pressure on us to figure everything out, to find happiness, to find joy, to restore the peace, the harmony, the balance between our heart and head, between ourselves and our loved ones that maybe got off on the same page because, of course, Mercury's retrograde, confrontations, misunderstandings, miscommunications are at an all-time high. But basically, with Mr. Saturn at play, we're starting to realize where we're carrying the weight of the world due to the roles and responsibilities, the obligations, the commitments that we've made to other people. Now, careful, this Libran energy is very people-pleasing. We have to learn how to strike a balance to do what is right for us, fair for us, what is going to encourage us to seek our own mission, seek our own purpose, while still honoring the wants, needs, and desires of the family, of the team, of the relationship, of the partnership, whatever the case may be. This isn't an abandonment of our roles and responsibilities to other people. It is a balancing act to make sure that we're giving ourselves the time, the energy, the attention that we need in order to feel safe and secure and stable and balanced within ourselves before we go ahead and start coming to the rescue for everyone else's problems.